Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I have a channel about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. My channel is about relationships. It's about the things that you do. So yeah, there's a lot of shared advice and what I've learned and just things that are true in general when it comes to getting along with somebody in marriage. I know a lot of people are apparently afraid of getting married because they feel like it's just never going to work out. They've heard the horror stories, especially when it comes to dating internationally, like women from the Philippines like I did. And I've been married for 9.5 years, and this is what's important to me. So I think I'm about the only channel out there in the Philippines sphere that does videos on relationships. So I got like 1,900 videos on YouTube. And so let's get into another one here. Please subscribe and leave a comment. This is a Forbes.com article. I've been kind of going through some of these acts of, love languages that's not part of the usual 5, the kind of in between there. For example, small essential acts of kindness, minor acts of kindness we'll talk about today. This is from Mark Travers, and these are things that can help you stay married and even find a wife in the Philippines. The article says, in the rush of busy days, a simple yet thoughtful love language is to ensure that your partner's basic needs are met, especially nourishment and rest. Asking if they've eaten, preparing a meal, or reminding them to take a break can seem like minor acts, but these gestures reveal an instinctive care for their well-being. This gesture is potent because it subtly says, I'm here to care for you, even in the smallest of ways. Now, I will interject here that one of the ways I do this for my wife, when I see her kind of maybe overdoing it with the work, I will, show her that, I do care about her, and maybe, she could take a little time off. She works very hard. She's very responsible, and she has a great job, and she's in demand there a lot. But I have to make sure that she doesn't get carried away, and she needs to know that I'm there watching over her body language, how it affects her mind or her attitude. Because if you're with a spouse day after day after day, you can tell. It's easier when you're married. You can tell just from being around them if things aren't right, and you can always ask, is everything okay? Or I noticed some things have changed lately. I try to help her to eat well and kind of just show her, hey, these things may be popular to consume, but they're not good for you. They're only going to make you more tired, and things like that. I would even consider something like, telling her that she should go to the doctor and get something checked out, because once in a while there is an issue. And I could just say, wow, that's too bad. If she wants to go, she wants to go. If she doesn't, she doesn't. But, it should be my job to say, hey, hon, maybe you should get that checked out. Or is there something I can get for you from pharmacy or from the grocery store that would help this? Because that way she knows that your mind is on her, even in these little ways. Now, I don't say much to women about how they should regard men. I certainly could, but that's not the gist of this channel. But this goes both ways. You want to see your Filipina, if you're married, showing you these things. Now, she might say, I want to take care of you, I want to do this and that for you. The reality is, if she comes to your country and she's busy, she won't have the same time. And if you have children, and some guys do want to have children with these women, she's not going to have as much time. And these acts of kindness, these minor acts, might not happen as much. Doesn't hurt, though, to remind her that, they're important to you, and it makes you feel cared for, and you'd like to, see that continue if possible. But you get the point here about, letting her observe that you're observing her and you're watching out for her. They also say here, in these everyday moments of care, the idea of eternal love quietly takes shape. Often we don't see or even notice it at first, but over time, these acts form an invisible foundation of trust and security, making their presence something you dearly miss when they're away. As I said, simple acts like helping you find that elusive pair of socks, encouraging you to rest, or suggesting a day off when you're worn down, they all add up. And I'm constantly losing track of stuff here in the house. She does move things around a lot, and I don't always know where things are, and like my chargers for my phone. And that gets moved around sometimes. And I'm like, where is this thing? Well, I need her to be able to just calmly tell me where it is and not be critical that I can't remember. And that's things like this, that you just have to be calm. And I know it may seem mundane, or you have to be patient because you have to repeat yourself. But being patient is definitely always a form of love, and it's going to manifest itself in many ways. And so, just heed these words. I'm trying to help people who especially are married, because people say to me, well, your wife's going to leave you once she gets a green card, citizenship, and my wife does have citizenship. She has a great job. She's been working here about 8.5 years, about the whole time she's been here. So people say those are 3 strikes against you. She's a citizen, she's working, green card, she's got her job, she's got independence and mobility, she has her own car. Well, look, if you're going to live in the West, I think those things are essential, and you shouldn't be afraid to give her things like that. It also shows that you trust her. And rounding this out here from this Forbes article, by practicing this love language of, small acts of kindness, couples create a steady, supportive bond that feels grounding and meaningful. Love, it turns out, isn't always in grand declarations, but often in day-to-day acts of care that make life's challenges more bearable and make you feel seen, valued, and deeply connected. Now, while this may sound great, this is me talking, it does need to be consistent. Many times when anybody gets married, they kind of call off the dogs, so to speak. They don't feel the same need to pursue someone and continue to go out on dates and treat them the same way they did, talk to them the same way they did before they got married. And you're going to have to continue to do that. And that's where it gets hard, because you can get complacent. Anyone can get complacent in marriage. I have to remind myself, hey, I've got a channel on relationships. I got to do all the things that I say, and I got to keep learning. So this is definitely something I like. Love isn't always in the grand declarations, but often day-to-day acts of care. Now, you can say all you want, you love someone, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot. You do have to show it. It has to be displayed. And it should be displayed in a way that your Filipina wife, or wherever she's from, wants to see it. If you're doing things for her that she doesn't really appreciate, or she doesn't find it as loving as you do, well, that's not her language. And so you have to learn to speak her language. And real quick, this reminds me of people that have these grand weddings, or, these grand proposals. And it makes me think, do they believe that this huge expensive wedding or the elaborate proposal is going to carry any weight when they get married? I hope they don't think that, and I don't think it will. I think once you're married and together, a lot of the relationship does come down to these small, simple, daily acts of kindness. And they seem small, but the point of this article, and what I want to reiterate, is they aren't small. They are very, very important. So think about ways you can show kindness to your Filipina, and be observant when you're with her. Is she showing you that she cares about the little things? Because if she doesn't, well, maybe her love for you isn't as strong as it should be, or maybe you should be explaining to her, it's important if you do this for me. It makes me feel, wanted, and so on. And it's okay. That's all part of communication in marriage, even if you married your love beyond the sea.